Bonjour, this is volume 1 of my shorts collection. In concise, straight-to-the-point illustrated how-tos, I'm showing tips and tricks I have not seen elsewhere, mostly for hand tool woodworking. In this video, I am compiling 6 ideas for improving efficiency when working with hand tools. Indeed, one recurring theme on my channel is that woodworking without the dangerous machines is not that much slower. Anything that can make things just a little bit faster or easier will help to tip the scales in favor of a quieter, cheaper, and safer approach to woodworking as a hobby. Welcome to the Nerd's Woodshop, I'm Melen Kerfaou. So, let me tell you how I made this small tri-square in under 5 minutes. For the stock, all I need is a piece of hardwood with one edge planed straight. For the quote-unquote blade, any straight metal rod will do. Now, with the nice edge down on the drill press table, I drill a through hole with the right diameter. I then epoxy the metal part into the stock, making sure it sticks out on the side of the nice edge. No need for sanding, finishing, or any other bells and whistles. This is only for me. And there it is, a very decent tri-square that only took a few minutes to make. I had to make it because a tri-square is an essential tool in my workshop, since I'm using mostly hand tools. But the vintage one I have is too big for when I just want to check an edge for square. My combination square needs resetting each time I use it. And my engineer square is overkill, and not very practical. What I wanted is a small, dedicated tri-square that would live on my bench, and that I would only use when planing an edge true to a reference face. I did not need it to be fancy, but I wanted it now. So let me tell you how I transplant ballpoint pens inside dowels so that they are easier to integrate into DIY tracing tools. I start by eviscerating a ballpoint pen and measuring the diameter just behind the writing tip. Then I secure a section of dowel to my bench and I drill a hole through the center-ish from both sides. Then I pop the ballpoint tip inside its new wooden home. I trim away the excess length. And voila! This big inner dowel is ready for integration in my next marking tool. Ballpoint pens are indeed a great complement to pencils and marking knives in the workshop. They make a very visible line that's perfect for when maximum accuracy is not really needed. That's why I made a couple of marking gauges with a big pen as the tracing element. But they're awkward to include in tools. The tapering point makes it hard to hold the pen in the tool without the point sticking too far out. So let me tell you how I added magnets to my pencil and my old man's glasses so that they'd stick to my bench lamp. Well, that's actually it. I just told you everything. I use masking tape so I can recover the magnets easily when the pencil gets used up or if I change my mind. It's not elegant, but my workshop is not a showroom. Some people look for their stuff underneath the streetlight. Others invent hats to stick it on. And I find mine on the shade of my bench lamp. So let me tell you about this ultra-simple bench-mounted thickness gauge that speeds up the process for hand tool thicknessing. First, I drill a dog hole through my bench top. Then I cut a section of dowel that fits the hole. Near the top end, I drill a hole for a ballpoint pen. My prototype used a step drill bit to fit a ballpoint pen directly. Mark II uses my bikini dowel mod, making integration much easier. Like a wooden plane, this thing is hammer adjusted. Then, with the reference face down on the bench top, I mark all around the boards I need to prepare. In most videos I've watched about thicknessing by hand, it seems the goal is to get the second face perfectly parallel. But just because the machines do it, doesn't mean we humans have to. Eyeball parallel is often enough. Ballpoint pen parallel is probably overkill already. So, let me tell you how I hang my boards from a rail up on the wall so they're a delight to sort through. Today's video is how I use a deck screw as a board hook for hanging rough lumber like it's a pivot display rack. It's a sturdy decking screw solidly planted at an angle in each of my longer boards. The screw then hooks into a rail that's securely anchored as high as convenient up on the shop wall. The system works as a pivot display rack, The boards are not hiding behind or below one another. I can see both faces without having to rummage. I can take one out and replace it easily. The air can circulate freely. The floor below remains free. There's no risk of permanent bending, nor picking up grit and moisture in the end grain. And compared to horizontal storage, it saves a ton of wall space and heavy-duty shelves, and it avoids hazardous shuffling of 50 kilo slabs while perched atop a step ladder. Just don't forget to remove the screw before sending the board through the table saw. So, let me tell you how I supercharge the readability of my winding sticks by adding this striped paper pattern. On the computer, I prepare an image of parallel black stripes. I print an A4 page with the pattern, from which I will be cutting strips to decal on my winding sticks. Apart from careful alignment, there's nothing much to it. I apply the pattern on both sides of each stick, with white stripes on the edges for one stick and black stripes for the other. Since my pattern has vertical symmetry, I will never have to fumble again when taking out the winding sticks. It's all interchangeable now. I find that the paper patterns greatly improve visibility, and they're certainly easier to make than exotic inlays. And as a bonus hack, I have embedded magnets in one stick and washers in the other one. My winding sticks always stay together. If I've piqued your curiosity about working with hand tools, check out my playlists where you can find great channels to subscribe to. If you're just here for the pictures, you can check out my Instagram, @Carfaou. À bientôt!